about today is Atlantis. Good afternoon, Karen. Hey, Deborah. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Okay,
You're fine.
my ADD is kicking in.
This is why I'll watch the chats.
Okay, so just to give you guys a little background, what happened the other day is occasionally Cassandra and I will conscious channel. So what that means is she's not fully in a trance channel. We're just getting messages, and many of you can do it. I do it in different ways. It's very common. So we were talking with some of our guides and hearing messages, and there's this whole idea of the world splitting. Earth is splitting, and kind of like we're going into this new age, and it kind of has this feeling like everything's going to just be amazing and love and light. We're not saying it's not going to be amazing. But what came in through us was an Atlantean frequency that kind of wanted to remind us of what really is happening, which then led us into a trance channel session with an actual Atlantean priestess. So that's what you guys are going to hear about today. We're going to cover it all, what she said, what came through, what were the big ahas for Cassandra and I. And we thought, wow, we got to share this. And then we will actually be we actually video recorded this for the first time. I know you guys have had on my Substack a lot of the audio recordings, and this will be an actual video recording of Cassandra in trance channeling state while I'm talking to this Atlantean priestess. We will be releasing that tomorrow on YouTube. It'll be on both of our YouTubes, so you guys can pick it up there. We'll leave the link. But if in case you want to watch it and actually, form your own opinions and see what you felt as it was going on, it was pretty potent. So what they shared with us was understanding that this isn't new. Humanity has been here before, and it was Atlantis. And that's the closest civilization that made it to the point we are now. For those of you that don't know, Atlantis was a highly civilized society, very intuitive, very magical. But what ended up happening was things weren't used to the best of everybody's abilities, or, it was kind of abused. So to put it kindly. And it faltered. Atlantis
Fell.
fell, and it went away. And there was Lemuria and Atlantis. So the reason they brought that up and why that energy is here to talk with us is they understand where we are. They understand what's happening next. And they understand that we now have this time in human consciousness to take it to the next level. It's kind of like a do-over. It's kind of like we've been here before. You guys know this. You can feel this. And some of you might have had Atlantean past lives. I personally did not.
I did.
Yeah, Cassandra did.
I'm Team Atlantis. He's Team Lemuria.
So this is the do-over. And so what they originally had said to us is basically it's a moment where once was accessible will now be once accessible one more. And so you guys are learning to integrate this energy. And they said, now you're matured. Here's the toy again. Can you play with it more responsibly? So it's not entirely accurate to say you've collectively evolved. So now you can experience this and everything. And now the earth is splitting, and the one half will experience love and light, and the other will remain in the darkness and, be all in hell, so to speak. That's not the case. There is a splitting, and we'll get into that. So that's kind of like I'll end up rabbit trailing. Cassandra, is there anything you want to add to that before?
Yeah. I think so I'm going to be transparent because I feel like everybody has their own perspective. So while this was like groundbreaking for me, it might not be groundbreaking, for Beckett or somebody else. And this is why we want to share it. But also, I'm curious to see what your thoughts are, because essentially what they're saying is where we are heading is into coming more into our magical essence. Yes. But I was like, and they lived happily ever after. The end. Like, we have all been working towards this enlightened, beautiful state. We're coming into these gifts and we're going to live as magical beings all together in one harmony, united, and peace on earth, goodwill to all men. So in my head, a lot of the language has been presumed as we've finally made it. We've made it. And so when they said this, it was more like, guess what? It's not really a final destination, shocker, but it's actually the next step. So it's about not splitting and fairy tale. It's about saying, okay, you're going to recognize and realize all the magic, which is why they've been in the channeling. They've said what was abnormal, or in the outskirts will now be, more common, because we have to remember the fullness of the magical essence. But what got me is it's because the next step is, will we misuse that power? And I was like, what? Didn't see that coming. So when we are all more experiencing this magical essence and gifts and abilities and advancements in technology, we still have to choose to be aligned and balanced in how we move forward. It's not like all the bad guys are going to be over on, Earth 1.0. That was the split. And the good guys are going to be on the other side of the split. And there's not going to be any intermingling. It's about being the fullness and still choosing to be responsible with how you wield your wand. And Becky could say my mind was a little bit, I was like, he had to help me work through all of the thoughts.
It's really what they've been working with us. And if any of you have listened or read the trance channelings we've done over the last year, you'll notice a common thread. And the common thread is always presence, play, love, and gratitude. Play mainly. Play and enthusiasm are top. Make sure you're playing. And the reason being is the magic that we're talking about is already here. It's not coming here. The gifts that are coming online, you guys already have. You've just forgotten how to tune into them, how to use them. You may have not even realized you were gifted in this way or that way. I'm clairsentient. I just know things. I can visually see things. I've been working telepathically with a lot of the beings, to communicate better because they struggle with communication the way we do. Telepathy, you're going to start seeing. In fact, Cassandra and I have actually had that happening the last few days. Come online, and they even share that with us, that it will start with the mothers and your children, best friends, partners that are really close are going to see this telepathy really start to amp up and kick in because you're already connected from that heart, right? And your heart emits the biggest frequency from you. It emits 150 yards, I believe, out. It's the biggest transmitter you have. So actually, when you're meeting people, it's heart to heart first, always, not here. And so the Atlanteans are wanting to come in and say, listen, don't do what we did, but enjoy this. And I'm going to share what happened. It was about an hour-long trance channeling, give or take. So we have to remember that and understand that the splitting is actually going to be that you're going to notice more people that you maybe don't resonate with, right? You're going to notice I don't really want to hang out with that group over there, or I really don't want to go to that city anymore. Or maybe that city is more about plant-based diets and this one over here likes more meat. And it's okay. It's understanding your own discernment. And that's why we're seeing everything happen right now is we went from a society being told by external circumstances everything, right? From pay your bills, make your rent, go to school, get a job, yada, 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 yada. We all know the drill. And we're swinging back to now as we're watching those things collapse. And my mom said something to me the other day. She goes, I find it difficult that it's hard to ground. because you don't know what's real anymore. You don't know what to believe in anymore. And I said, I get that. But what you ground in is your heart and the ground you're walking on. That you can believe in. That is your truth. And so as things collapse, and they had shared with us, the biggest thing once disclosure happens and everything is confusion, right? It's going to be this, well, what do I believe in? And the point of that is to get you to come back to the middle and come back to yourself. You know, everything you know, anything Cassandra and I are talking about, you guys already know. It's already within you. You don't need to hear it from us. We're just helping you remember. You already know. And I always tell people, like, I'll have people on my Substack will say, I don't know, Beckett, when I was talking about fairies, I'm a little skeptical of this right now. I go, good, be skeptical. We don't all have to agree. We can understand.
Yeah.
And go, that's cool. That, right? Maybe fairies resonates with you. Maybe dragons resonates more with you. It doesn't matter. But it's important for you to come home to you first. So then you can connect with everybody else from that space. That's where they're guiding us to be. Any questions so far?
Yeah. So Deborah had a question, but we're going to get to it with the trance channeling, because she was wondering if there was any advice on basically how to fight against those who may want to abuse those gifts again.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we're going to touch on that. They had some guidance for us. Also, I know Jennifer said some are not ready. That's the point. Everybody's ready exactly where they need to be. There is a first wave of us that have gone through this. That doesn't make us special. There's a lot of things in the spiritual community you'll hear people say, well, these souls were chosen, or no, it isn't. That's not the case. It's just that your soul wanted to experience whatever it wanted to experience at the time you wanted to experience it. And so you all are exactly where you're meant to be right now. I'm freezing. I'm okay over here, so I don't. Am I freezing on yours?
no. Yeah, not
Okay.
yet.
So I want you guys to know that too. There's not a stick to measure up to. Don't
Right.
think when we share this stuff, go, oh, I'm not there. I'm not there. Yeah, you are. You're exactly where you need to be. We all are. We all are. And we're here to help each other through this. That's the point. That's the point. Do it together. We'll all help each other through this. So please don't measure yourself against anybody, or don't think that you're behind, or that's not, you know what I mean? Just understand everybody's on their own journey and they're experiencing exactly what they're supposed to do at their time. Okay.
Yes. All
Yes.
right, let's
Ground through
go.
your heart. Yes. Absolutely. Trust your heart and all these things. Trust your heart.
Hi,
Hey,
Jose.
Okay. So the being that came through, her name was Alahani. Alahani. She said she was a frequency of Atlantis and its memories, a High Council Priestess, frequency of its truest form and intention. And like I said, when we release the video, you guys will actually be able to see her essence through Cassandra. She has Palladian genetics, because she had shared with me that she showed Cassandra that she was Palladian, and so Cassandra could understand the energetic frequency. And she said, we are in communication with others, meaning other people on this planet. They're speaking to various souls. All of you may be some of them. We are people of genetics and of the stars. We are called star people, which is what we all are.
Mm-hmm.
We are star people.
Which was a little confusing for me, because I kept thinking she was a Palladian, and she's like, no, I am not a Palladian. I have Palladian genetics. I was like, but I'm picking up Palladian. She's like, we are star people. I'm like, okay, I suppose we're good to go then.
Well, it's no different than us, right? Here in the world.
Yeah.
If you do your ancestry,
Yeah, right.
we have ancestry all over, right? So it makes sense that why wouldn't other beings, other species also have the same thing? They would. We just don't think of them that way. So I asked her at first and said, Atlantis, let's go through what happened. What were the top 3 reasons that Atlantis fell that you feel like we should know right now? And really, it was ironic to me because when she got through these, I was like, wow, this is really where we are right now. Like literally. So I'm gonna read it to you guys a little bit. And it says, the misalignment use of advanced technologies, this was a small percentage, and it wasn't the most destructive of the entire scope. And these all interplay. So that's why I'm sharing these, to really help you guys understand. She goes, it was not the majority. It was specific individuals who were playing with things in ways they shouldn't be playing with them. Okay. Number 2 was the imbalance of the elemental makeup of Gaia and the land. Misuse and lack of honoring the other side of the coin would have been Lumeria. Lumeria was very honoring of the land, very in sync with the land, very associated and connected to the land. Atlantis, not so much. They kind of lost sight of that. They got kind of fixated on the shiny and new. Like, ooh, look at this.
Crystals.
Right. So the largest influence, though, of the fall, and this was interesting to me, and this is where it's going to get a little tricky, but I'm going to do my best to explain it, was the influence of the majority was the fascination with one's capability in being disconnected to what's around them. And she gave me an example, and I said, okay, explain. She said, for instance, like if you were to take medicine from Gaia, ayahuasca, mushrooms, pot, you pick, and you chose to remain in that state, in this euphoric state all the time. You're like, oh, this is just great. I'm just going to stay here. Eventually, that creates its own frequency and consciousness and starts to block things off. And she said, imagine a maze where you start dropping walls and there's no forward motion, right? If you're just euphoric, there's no drive to do anything. There's no drive to like move forward. You're kind of cutting out that masculine energy completely. You're just like, yes, this is great. And this, what she called is euphoric delusion that bypassed the forward motion of integration. So this is where they stopped. It's like, here's your magic blanket, like we talked about, and they all got lit up with it.
Exciting magic.
Right. Like, let's just stay in the magic. Let's just do this. But that's not the balance. You know, we have principles on this planet, and polarity is one of them. It's the balance of the masculine and feminine. They need to be balanced. We are a polarity-based planet. That's not going away. It will up level. So you won't maybe see so many drastic polarities like we're seeing now, but it's always going to be there. So she had said to me, and she had even shared in between all this, but that they had a council that was connected to the quantum gifts that saw this very moment right here. And they knew that this was coming in this year at this time. And they said it was a little bittersweet for them because they decided at that time, knowing we would have some choices, not to intervene and let us make the choice. Let's see if they can do better than we did. We'll help them. We'll support them. That's why a lot of these trance channels says no one's coming to save you.
Yeah.
No, they're not. Not the other beings, not any of these guides, not anybody is coming to save us. You, us, together have to come together and make a better choice. But they're here to support and help us. So she said they knew that. So this euphoric state, she said the challenge is the majority disconnected so vastly that small minority, that group that I told you about, was able to destroy things without them even understanding. Because they're locked off in this euphoric state. They're not connected back to where they were. So, of course, the small majority is like, yeah, you guys stay up there. We're going to go over here and do this. Does that make sense so far? Okay. She said the human condition, and you guys can probably relate to this, is we always want to feel good. We're always chasing feeling good. Yes. Dopamine-driven screen addiction and disconnection. Exactly. Stop, Marsha. Exactly. We're always chasing. She goes, you guys love to chase the good. You like to feel good. You like to feel good. She goes, for example, what if I said to you, you can have a choice. You can live a life where there's no hurt, there's no war, there's no challenges, tons of love, tons of gifts, tons of light. And while she was saying this, I said, that would be boring. And she looked right at me and she goes, that's a good answer. But the majority of the people on your planet would say, sign me up. Sign me up for that. I don't want to go through any of that. She goes, then you have the other side on the planet who are fear and victims, right? Oh my God, we're going to hell. Oh my God, this stuff, nothing works out for me. Everything's always against me. My life sucks, all that. There's those. So you got these two planes. And she said, what you guys need to understand is you are gods. You are powerful. You are quantum makeup of what is possible. You can create and through your belief whatever you want. You have to balance these emotions. That's Earth. She said, that's why you came here, to experience all the emotions. And there was something she said to me that really hit me. She said, you're here to experience like liquids, to find roots to flow through. There's no lessons. There's nothing you necessarily have to learn, which I have said, and a lot of people have disagreed. And it was like, there is no karma. There's nothing you have to make up for. Everything here is an experience. Can you take it as the experience? When you think of rivers, they flow. If they hit a boulder, they might push against it and then they flow around it. Sometimes there's rapids. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's a giant waterfall, but it's constantly flowing. And that's what she wanted us to really remember, is that you're fluid and you are going to flow between fear and happiness, right? It's the yin yang. Cassandra, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's good. I think it's just, because I think when you were sharing it to me, one of the words she used was abundance. If you could have like all the abundance now, I mean, not gonna lie, I'm like, like I could just like snap my fingers and okay, where you're like, well, that would be boring. Ah, but I get it. I get what they're saying. And that's the thing is because I feel like we all filter through our own lenses and experiences. And Beckett, you know this firsthand from watching me. My lens and experience often tends to be that if I do the right thing, that I'll be blessed or I'll get rewarded. If you don't have experiences that feel good, well then you did something wrong or you're misaligned and that's been something in the last year of my life I've really had to navigate and work through. So in part it's like if someone would say, "Yes, you could have all those things now." I mean, I get a lot of us probably would be like, what's the catch? Because that sounds awesome. I'm just being real, with where I was. So it's fascinating to consider the idea that it's not so much about one thing, but in just the next stage of evolution and growth.
Right. And that's why this is important, is because the advice, she did give us advice on this, and let's talk about the euphoric state, because it seems easy to make it seem like, yeah, I take mushrooms, I get high, but this isn't exactly what she was hinting to. And remember, they're trying to speak to me through ways that we can understand, right? So they're giving me metaphors and stuff, so they're not meant to be taken literally. There is a little deciphering I have to do on that end to really get the frequency behind what they're trying to say. And what was interesting to me was the next key for you guys is honoring the journey without forgetting where you come from, forgetting what's around you. And the advice they gave is learn to balance the euphoria and the fear, and understand that the euphoria could be exactly what Cassandra was talking about. I did something right. I got rewarded. Or I must be closer to God because I've done this or that or this. It's always, and she gave an example, and she said, when you're always looking for external answers or validation, you're in a euphoric state because you're wanting something from the outside to make you feel good, but you don't need the outside to feel good. And that reminds me of the trance channeling. It was funny because she brought up Jesus to me, and she said a good example of this was Jesus. She said his message was tainted because unless people he wanted more answers. And if you haven't heard that trance channeling, I recommend go listening to it. because that will also help you understand a lot of this. When I asked him that, and he said everything's meaningless and meaningful. Meaning, and it's also one of the 4 agreements. Don't take anything personally. That means even when people are praising you, it doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. Doesn't mean it's like, okay, yeah, that felt good. But don't weigh and measure your life by that. Weigh and measure your life more by what is filling your heart and soul. Because that's going to be more impactful. That's going to be more of a frequency out there that unites us all, is because we need your unique essence. And your unique essence might have something completely weird that nobody's ever thought of that really lights your heart and soul, and be like, okay, that's interesting, but like, that's cool. And seeing somebody so lit up doing something that they love that you don't may even get, like, I don't know about you guys, but I love it. That's fast. I'm just great. I'm just happy that you're so excited doing whatever you're doing. Even though I don't maybe get it.
That's every day with you, love.
Well, I'm just saying. So, I mean, it's understanding that this euphoric state and where it's coming from. Is it filling your heart and soul first? Or are you looking for external answers? Are you looking for external? And to you guys' point, when we talk about social media, dopamine, right? The like, how many likes am I getting? How many subscribers do I have? How many, everything, how to, be successful on Substack and get all of the likes and get all the subscribers. Those are dopamine hits. Because let's be clear, if any of these social media platforms shut down, where are you now filling your heart and soul if that's your measure? And that's kind of their point, is like, pay attention, presence of what's right in front of you. Yeah, it's okay to enjoy those things lightly. Like when I lose subscribers now, I've made a thing of saying thank you. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for allowing to be a part of this. I hope wherever your journey takes you, it fills your heart and soul.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, ready for the villain part?
Dun, dun, dun.
What she was saying is, when the majority is misaligned like this, it creates the villain, but it's not the villain we think. Everybody points outside, and I'm not going to get into today's world because I don't even want to go there, but we all have an idea of who. Everybody's pointing fingers somewhere else. And what she was saying to you is, actually, the villain is the group of the majority that was in the euphoric state. It's you all. You become the victim and you become the villain because you weren't present. You didn't interact with your world. You stayed in this euphoric state and wanted to let the rest do whatever they're going to do. And now they've done what they've done. And now you're like, well, it's your fault. And it's like, no, we're all in this together. That's the out of balance. You become the villain and the victim, right?
Mhm.
It kind of reminds me of that thing that says, whoever you're pointing a finger at, point 3 more back at yourself. That doesn't mean people don't do things bad. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, we have to remember as a consciousness and a collective. And I've always said this, and my family's kind of laughed at me and other people. And I've always said the power is always with the people. At the end of the day, the power is with the people. They are with you and I. When we all decide to stop fighting, and we decide what the world we want to be in, and we decide to accept each other's differences, and we decide to not hate as much, and we could go on, then we get to choose and change the world. Nobody else. Nobody can power over us unless we give them that power.
Right.
I know that may seem a little, I don't know,
No,
too out there.
no, that's good. Can I add a piece to that?
Yes, please.
So the other thing that I'm going to kind of throw myself a little under the bus here that I find fascinating with this topic too, and what they're sharing in the changes. And like Becca said, it's interesting to consider, we might want to point fingers at the percentage of higher power in the case of Atlantis that, if you ask how Atlantis was destroyed, often the answer you get is like, well, there were a group of people that were playing with things they shouldn't be playing with. They misused the technology. So when he shared this, it was fascinating to say that, well, actually, it was within the majority's choice to, be so lost in a euphoric state of numbness and magic that like allowed the atmosphere to be ripe for that. And it's funny because it also makes me think about my perspectives on exactly what is the villain, and I think that adds to this also. If we're in this, you look at different occults and things we've experienced in this reality of people that were perceived as cult leaders or and different gurus or things like that. It's fascinating to think about because recently I've had a couple things that come across to me and I instantly took a very opinionated perspective. Like, for example, someone talking about being an exorcist, that this was all new language and seemed out of character for this individual. And I was like, what? They've lost their way. They're on the wrong path, and I started attaching stories to, is this person now a villain? Are they on the wrong track? Are they misleading others? And I had to bring myself back and understand that also it's important for us to realize that aside from issues of harm, obviously, um, it is it's a sticky area because there are probably souls that are meant to go on experiences with those individuals and be a part of that reality, even though it's not mine. But I can't be labeling them as a villain or like attaching too much judgment. I don't know, Beckett. What do you think? Like, do you get what I'm trying to communicate?
Yeah, I equate it to this. It's like going and picking out a ride or an amusement. Some people love haunted houses. I don't. They're not my jam. But some people love them. They live for Halloween. That doesn't mean they're evil. That doesn't mean they're dark. That doesn't mean anything. It just means they love Halloween. So it's kind of like if you go to an amusement park and some like roller coasters, others don't. I can't go on things that spin. It can seem hard for us to understand. How do we not judge somebody else's journey if it doesn't match with ours? And but that's the neutrality that you have to come home to. That's what was being said in all these trance channelings is stick in your lane, follow your heart, and let your story and your experiences be your story and experiences, and understand that there's a million other billion people having different experiences, different amusement parks, different rides, different characters. I mean, I think about that all day, every day, and my mind gets blown. I say that to Cassandra all the time. I'm like, why didn't I incarnate as this tribe in the middle of the Amazon forest and build my house in a tree like they're doing in a stick figure? They're having a completely different experience right now on this planet than I am. I know nothing about their world. I know nothing about what it means, and I have no place to judge it. But I think it's fascinating and it's beautiful and it's amazing that we all get to be on this planet and experience such vast, different lives. Like so vast, so different. And we get to even cross with each other and get to talk about it or get to break bread or, get to learn. Or sometimes people will take you off even. That'll make you grow, right? Or whatever. It's you have to understand that there's nothing to fear. It's really all just experiences, and you're not here to experience that thing. There was another example. Cassandra came running into the room one day, all upset.
Oh, geez. Not that story.
And I share this because hopefully this guy's helped you. And she's like, oh my God. And she was so angry. And I was like, what is wrong? And she's like, this person put on Instagram that astrology and all this stuff is just BS. It isn't real, blah, blah, blah. And she got
Okay,
done.
but a spiritual person. A
Okay.
spiritual. Okay, yep.
But again, what is your different definition of spiritual?
Yeah.
That's broad. You don't know. Okay, spiritual person means what?
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's your definition of spiritual. But anyways, she got all upset and she's like, can you believe this? And I just sat there and I said, okay. And she's like, I'm going to post a reel that says, and I said, she's like, what do you think? I said, I think what they wrote is true. And she goes, what? I go, that's their truth.
Yeah.
That's the life they want to live. That's what they want to experience. Then great. What does that have to do with yours? It doesn't take away what you experience. It doesn't take away what you believe. It doesn't take away what lights your heart up. So what does it matter? What does it matter?
I loved that answer, by the way. Loved it.
So that's what they're trying to get us to see. Hopefully that makes sense. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect, like she said. We all fall into realms of judgment. We all fall into realms of, oh, maybe I could have done that better. But that's the point, is to be the messy human. It's to walk the middle way. It's to sometimes be in the dark and sometimes in the light. And, most of the time you're gray. And that's okay. And not beat yourself up and not have judgments and not put more mud on yourself and not do anything and go, okay, I had that experience, right? I was this liquid flowing and that's what I experienced. And cool. If you want wisdom from it, take wisdom from it. If you don't and feel like it was just an experience and it was all I needed, then that's all you needed. That's the key to what they're trying to say to us. And I'm going to get to the advice that she gave us moving forward. But hopefully you guys understand that. Yes, Deborah and I had talked earlier. She had mentioned something about protection and fear. And this is a thing I see a lot in the spiritual community. You need to have protection. Here's what I've learned and what I know. You take it or leave it. I've never believed in that. Because if I know frequency attracts frequency, if I'm telling the universe I need to protect myself, I'm telling the universe, give me something to protect myself from. If I'm coming from my heart space, I don't need protection. I don't need protection because I'm going to attack. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to have arguments. That doesn't mean bad things happen. They do. Right? And that's part of the journey of life. I had a brain injury. I've had all of the things. Bad things happen. I would say I'm a pretty good person. Am I perfect? No, but life happens. And it's how we take those experiences. My soul wanted to experience that for the expansion, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I hope that helps because a lot of, you'll see that a lot in the spiritual, you need to make sure you're protecting because there's people who will siphon your energy, and there is a law of free will. It is a universal law. It is a cosmic law. Nobody, nothing can have access to you unless you say yes.
I believe that 100%.
So that is your free will. So take with that however you would like. I'm not judging, again, anybody. I'm just saying that's my personal opinion. And what I've learned, right, is frequency be rich. So understand that. There's because to me that just invokes fear. Oh, I got to protect myself. Or just because, I've had people ask me, does Cassandra protect herself? I said, no. She calls in love and light and she gets love and light. And she knows who that, just like, no different than when I'm walking in the street. And this is why attaching to your intuition is helpful right now. If you meet somebody, I had this happen in Charlotte when I was living there. All my friends loved this person. I did not like them. They weren't nasty to me. They didn't do anything wrong to me, but I simply just did not like them. And my friends were like, what is wrong with you? Why don't I go? I don't know. There's something about them I can't vibe with. I wasn't nasty. I just didn't interact with them. Well, later, come to find out, the person ended up doing some pretty nasty stuff and stealing and stuff like that. But I knew my intuition at that point was just like, you don't need to have this experience with this person. Just pivot. You don't need to know why. If you're trusting your intuition, you don't need to know why sometimes. And that will drive Cassandra crazy because she likes to know why to everything.
What? Yes.
Sometimes you're not going to know why, but you have to be so sure about you. And that's why they're wanting everybody to be present. Slow down. Play. So how do you not get in this euphoric state? That was the question I asked, right? Okay, help us not do what you did. How do we not get caught up in this euphoric state? And so she said, okay, let me give you some guidance. First, enjoy the process. Enjoy it thoroughly. Allow yourself to slow down. So when they're talking about connection, I'm talking about, like we talked about just before we got on here, where we were sitting on the couch watching out our window, drinking coffee, and I saw the crow trying to pull this weed out of the thing, and it couldn't get it out. And I went out to help it. And Cassandra was like, "What are you doing? You're going to scare the bird away." And I'm like, "No, I won't." And he hopped over, and I cut it up. It was longer than that. There was a couple passes. I put it back down, and the crow came out, grabbed it, and took it off to its nest.
And I was blown away. I was like,
but that's what the magic is. Yes, there's more things of telepathy and all the fun stuff we've heard about that you guys know. You know, the psychic, the mediums, people are coming online now and saying, why am I having these vivid dreams? Why do I know this stuff? Why am I feeling like my hands lately are vibrating? I have gifts coming online, and it's coming out creatively through my writing, through my paintings. There's a frequency coming in there. You're going to see whatever it is for you, but connecting and slowing down and spending time with yourself, with nature, with the people you love, the people you cherish, your community, your family, coming here with us today, right? We're so grateful. You guys are taking this time out of your day to be present, to sit with us, to have this weird conversation about Atlantis. That's connection. And it's allowing you to just be here, and we're sharing frequencies, and we're sharing love, and we're sharing information, and we're collaborating with each other, and we're being kind. That's what they're talking about.
yeah.
Remember who you are. If I could have $1 for how much I was told this for the last year, you could ask Cassandra.
He loves it. If you listen, if you read his Substack, comment on every post next time. Remember who you are, Beckett. He'll love it. That would be funny.
No, it wouldn't.
Sorry.
Don't take that advice. And you're right, Jennifer. That isn't weird. And I shouldn't say that. They've also gotten on me about that. Stop saying things are weird. And they're not telling. They're always suggesting. So just so you know, that's not like a parent. They're always like, we suggest. Nobody's here to tell you. Because they've said that to us. If we just tell you, then we're just another being overpowering you. And that's not what this is about. So remember who you are is remember the divinity of who you are. Remember that you are consciousness itself. Remember that you are powerful. And then we don't mean powerful like, we've made it. Meaning powerful in love. Powerful to create the life you want to live. You have more access to you than we are aware of. Science is just starting to match. Spirituality and science, I believe, are going to merge. They've already proven that consciousness is not inside the body. They don't know where it is, but they know it's not in the body. And they know it doesn't die with the body. So science is catching up with these things, and you're going to see more and more of that. So remember who you are and embrace it. Be the weird. Yes, Karen, exactly. We're all weird, and it's good. That is the point, right? Look at us as just different cultures, different characters, different things everybody loves. We could look at our neighborhood and go, oh, wow, just look at the different characters around me right now that are different. Like, that's amazing. That's who we are. Be more of that. Be more of that. And I'll tell you why that's important. Because they shared that. The magical blanket. This is your true nature collectively.
I think that's just really building up.
Yeah, it is. We are going to start seeing it more and more. And they said, savor this unfolding. Savor these next few months. Savor it. Every moment, every that happens.
Allow the ahas and like, holy crap, the crow just like worked with Beckett to
or whatever. You know, I didn't see that happening. Or, oh my God, I thought about my mom and I was thinking this, and she actually called and said that thing. You know, for the other day, I was trying to play with telepathy.
Oh gosh.
And Cassandra was out and she was going to get us lunch. And I thought, you know, I really want French fries. So I thought, I know, see if I can telepathically tell her that. And she didn't know that. And so I thought, I want French fries. And she literally called me like 2 minutes later, not even. And she said, hey. And I said, hey. And she goes, by the way. I said, yeah. She goes, I think I really want French fries. I was like, yes, it worked. I was like, that's amazing. Great. So it could be as silly as that. Just play with it. Play and see what you can do. So this is why this is important. They said allowing this allows more of this consciousness to come through. So the more you don't shut it down and say, this is weird, or somebody's going to judge me, or I can't say that because people will think I'm crazy, or this doesn't make sense to anybody, the more you're shutting this consciousness off from coming into the planet. So you've got to just, so they said, play with this energy, dream your wildest dreams, explore with things that you've always wanted to do, or topics you've always thought about, or put these two together. So,
okay, real quick, Beckett, can you elaborate for those who join later? Can you elaborate on what you mean by this magical blanket?
Okay, good question. Great question. So the magical blanket is this new energy that's hitting the planet right now. We've had excessive solar flares. You're seeing a lot of natural disasters. Astrologers have talked about the basket right now, that we're having all these planets that we've never ever seen in our history that are in this basket shape. It's all evoking a magic. And what we're saying is the veil is thinning. You've probably heard that, which means telepathy is possible. Psychic abilities are possible. Intuitive insights of, you're like, I don't know how I know that, but I know that, are possible. All of these gifts that people view as like weird, or that's not normal, or people don't do that, or, whatever, dragons aren't real, all of fairies don't exist. All that is actually the reality of, no, they do. It's just, can you see them in your world? And our world will be merging with that world. And when I say merging, it's the availability. It's allowing yourself to be open to whatever you believe. So this is why I said this, I think in a live we did a couple months ago, that what will happen is moment by moment, you'll get to choose what dimension you want to kind of pop into, depending on your frequency, depending on what you want to see, what fills your soul, what you believe. And so one moment you might be visiting something in a 10th dimension. Next, you might be in a 4th. The other, you might be back here in the 3rd. You're going to have availability to other timelines because, as we know, past, present, future, it's all the same. It's all happening at once. Time is not linear. And you're going to be able to visit and pull in different things, even your higher self, in different timelines. So that's what they're calling this magical blanket. It's this frequency. Really, it's plasma, but that's my own.
Oh boy, we got a whole rain in the plasma conversation. This one, baby.
I won't go there yet. But as you guys know, it's plasma. But that's my newest venture into understanding its energetics. It's just this soup of conscious availability. So they called it a magic blanket that's descending over the earth at this point, and that's why we're seeing the solar flares. I think we had 13 the other day. We have even had them like knock out the energy grid in parts of the United States. So it's energy that's coming to the earth, and you guys are feeling it. So you might feel more tired. You might feel energized. You might feel body aches. You might feel like, whoa, I have all this energy. I don't know what to do with it. It's that energetic field that's hitting everything on this planet. So that's the magical blanket. And it's because we are at the point Atlantis was at, where human consciousness, there's enough of us on this planet that are saying, we're ready. We're ready to take another big step. We're ready to play with this. We're ready to remember who we are. It's not the majority. So don't think everybody on the planet, not 50% of the people, but there's enough. And people are starting to get intrigued. You would notice people that don't even know anything about spirituality or astrology, and they're asking questions, or they're thinking about these lucid dreams I'm having, or why am I feeling like nature is becoming so vibrant, or, I can connect with it in such a way. They're sensing it. They're sensing it. Their body's sensing it. So hopefully that helps you understand what that magic is.
I'm holding the questions, baby. Continue. Let's finish up your topic.
Okay.
We have some random questions. So, but
okay, we're almost done with
yeah.
We're almost done with their guidance. So their other guidance is remember to be present. And you guys will see when we release this video, the priestess started crying at this point. She was upset and said, appreciate it all, because we didn't. Appreciate Gaia, appreciate the animals, appreciate the elements, And do not get distracted by what is new over what has always been. Honor.
Say that again.
Do not get distracted by what is new over what has always been. Honor it. And that was her next thing, was savor nostalgia. Slow down. It used to be normal to walk down your neighborhood and say hi to your neighbor. Now when we do it, people are look at you like, what? Why are you talking to me? Right? That's what she's saying. Yes, be excited about the magic, be excited about the new, be excited, but also remember what's around you. Remember this beautiful planet that you get to have these experiences on. It is our container to enjoy this. So on the animals, your neighbors, your friends, and that's when she was crying. She said, we forgot that. We got caught up in the euphoria, the new. You got to be able to remember both and hold them both sacredly. Because I think, like I was telling Cassandra, we forget that even getting up and getting a clean glass of water is spiritual. Getting out of bed and breathing in the morning is spiritual. Right? Having food to eat, if you do, is, whatever. There's a million things you can look at. Those are all spiritual. That's connection. Because eventually, like they've said to us, spirituality is going to morph into every day. And how do you do that? You understand that every moment that you are living from your heart and you're present and you're having fun, or you're crying your eyes out and going, this is the saddest thing I've ever been in, and you're letting your friend hug you, is spiritual. It's sacred. It's not always be high vibe and love. That's actually, if you know the history, that's actually Luciferian. Lucifer was the brightest angel and knew he couldn't expand or grow if he remained that way, and wanted to travel to the dark. That's what being Luciferian is. When you look at the history and and most people don't know that. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. Lucifer is be love and light all the time. Because you can't. We're not meant to be that way. We came here to experience it all. So hopefully that makes sense. Many will be able to integrate these gifts in new forms, new technologies. You're going to see they've shared your medicine expand greatly in the next 2 years. You're going to see a lot of change in power grids and stuff in the next 2 years. But again, enjoy them, but don't forget what's always been here. Don't forget what's important. Appreciate Gaia as the container of these experiences. And these two things really hit me. And then we'll get to the questions. Your intuition will be growing. And yes, this is beneficial for the galactic frequency. If you want to talk to otherworldly beings, if you want to have conversations, if you want to talk to your guides, if you want to connect with archangels, yes, that's all beneficial. But the main reason that this is beneficial is for your discernment. It's for your discernment to know what resonates for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to know you, really know you, which takes time, slowness, presence, spending time with you to know what is really for me. What do I really believe? What do I resonate with? Because that's going to help you through these next few years. And so the last thing that I thought she said was really beautiful. Well, these two were funny, but these things. She said, look less externally for the answers, but engage more externally in collaboration. That really hit me. I was like, oh, so look less externally for the answers, but engage more externally for collaboration. And she laughed and she said, we may even suggest to you that you guys learn to play games and ask each other, what is the most unique, weirdest way we can solve the world's problems? And then go do them because you can. So play.
More kittens, Beckett. More kittens.
Oh, good Lord. So that was her thing. It was like, don't let any dream think impossible. Don't be like, oh my God, that's crazy. Don't be, oh my God, that'll never happen. Yeah, play with it. Find a group of people around, find your community and say, okay, let's come up with these crazy wookie ideas how we can solve this stuff. Because it can happen. It's possible now. It may not work out exactly like we think, but it's understanding that collaboration is needed. Yes, well, exactly, Jose, because we were told a long time ago, this is about learning how to be the me within the we.
That came from the Acturians.
Was it the Actarians? Okay.
Yeah.
We've had so many conversations, I don't remember. Yes. It's that. It's understanding that how do I be the me within the we? So yes, we collaborate, we come together, we help our neighbors, we go back to leaving pies on each other's porches or saying hi or hey, do you need a hand or whatever. We go back to understanding each other and going, we may not agree about everything, but you know what? We love each other. We're human. We can do this together. We can make it work. Now, again, it's not utopia. It's not going to be perfect. But she's saying collaborate more, come together more. We've been too separate. We're too afraid to talk to each other anymore. We're too afraid to disagree with somebody and not have we don't know how to do that. We don't know how to sit at a table and disagree and still get up and hug each other and say, we're good. We may not agree, but that's okay. We're good. We've lost those skills and they're trying to get us back, but it has to start with you. So that's this whole, like, it all starts with you. That thing of it all has to start with you. It's like, yes, but know you. Know you now. What do you think of other beings in this place? What do you think of a new world with magic? What do you think of fairies? What do you think of dragons? What do you think of trance channeling? Some of you might know, some of you might not. Be like, huh, I don't know. What do I think? So I think that's all of it. I'm not going to get into the plasma. That was my own personal questions.
So a couple things. One, I'm wondering if, especially for those who joined us later, maybe since I love details, I could summarize shortly, like what we said.
Sure.
And then I would love to, while you're listening, I would love to hear if anybody wants to share how they're receiving this information. Okay. And then we have like one question. That's not really totally related, but I think I feel inclined to have you answer it.
Well, we should, yeah. I don't care if they're related or not. I think all questions are good. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. Summary of this video, guys, has been that it came through to us the idea that we are not splitting to where this is completely fairy tale. We've arrived, everything, love, light, magic, happily ever after, and the storybook ends there. Versus the bad guys or the split of those who don't want to live in fairy tale land on the other side. We are instead, the invitation is realizing we are revisiting this idea of Atlantis being given the opportunity to move forward and do it better than where they lost sight. So the trance channeling helped us understand how can we do that. We can do that in part. Don't constantly seek the high, the euphoric, the disconnection. Understand your intentions, bringing that into harmony, understanding we are both the magical and we are the human. And as long as we are on this planet, there will be levels of experiencing polarity in some capacity, but we're doing it on an elevated scale. So the world will hopefully be a lot more magical because I'm team magic. But we're living it in presence, appreciating the planet, appreciating the air, saying hi to your neighbor, maybe having conversations with your neighbors saying, hey, I trance channel Merlin. And they're like, hey, that's cool. I get that. And it's not weird or unusual at all. That would be my summary. How would you grade that?
That was a B+.
B+.
We're getting away from grading in teams.
Okay, well, I'm not there yet.
I mean, we all are team magic. We're all team Earth. We're all team humans.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's the key is this, right?
Yeah.
So you can see how easy it is to go to division. I'm on this team. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying it's like, no, we're all in the same team. How about we just visit a group?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, like a book club or a surf club or, a stitching bitch or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
No offense. I don't mean to offend anybody, but I mean,
Yes. Okay. So that being said, I would love if you guys can put in the comments any questions. How does that feel? Please connect and share your thoughts. Maybe this isn't a far stretch for you. For me, it was because, like I said, I didn't realize how far I was in the belief of the splitting, I told Beckett is interesting because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's separation. It says to have the experience I want. I was believing it had to look a certain way. And anyway, so
Jose, let's get what Jose said. How am I receiving this information? That's a great question. I receive the information as it needed. Perfect. For me, Atlantis is an important example of what not to do to have a successful civilization with a long lifetime. Exactly. Margot, thanks, Beckett and Cassandra. I can certainly see how closely humanity is to mirroring what happened to Atlantis. These suggestions are exactly what we need to avoid the same final outcomes. Exactly. And please, guys, take what resonates, right? You can say, that doesn't feel good for me, or I don't feel that. That's cool. That's cool. We just get this information and we feel like when it shifts us that we should share it with you all and let you all take it how you need to take it. Or not at all, and go, well, that was entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, Margot, I would say that. I would say we're more, yes, at the beginning of the shift, because there's no beginnings or endings. We're ending that cycle and we're shifting into this. And they've kind of shared that with us in that August will be the most difficult for the collective. So we're coming up on that. What that means, we don't exactly know. We know it's just been gently guided to really stay in love. Don't try to really fight with anybody or prove a point, and just try to be that example of what you're wanting to see. And then fall will we'll go through a lot of this shift, and December will kind of be this rest period. Because we're going to need it starting next year to kind of get things started. Right. Create this new world. Let's start building this foundation together. So that's roughly the timeline we've been given. I know we've shared it with you all on other trance channels and stuff like that. If you guys need any information, if you're looking for anything, if you have any questions or say, hey, have you guys done this? Can you share me where this is? Please reach out to me or Cassandra. We're happy to share this with you, send it to you, give you answer any questions we can to the best of our abilities. We don't know it all.
Yeah. Okay, so the question I have that I want to direct towards you, because it was related to AI, and I know you have a lot more understanding, knowledge, experience on this. But
Okay.
Jennifer basically was saying she's feeling a need to be able to understand the difference between like what's AI and what's not. She says as you read things, they might sound lovely at first, but feel sterile in some way and unattainable. Um, so my question would be to this, because she just says like, "What are your thoughts? Wonder what this means," as it relates to feeling the desire to be able to discern whether or not something is AI and human. So I'm going to apply this a little bit to our conversation and say, okay, if we're experiencing an advancements, which includes advancements in technology, because that's where we're going. What would be your thoughts or opinions as it relates to the topic of AI and advancement of where we're going?
AI isn't going anywhere. We know this through many trance channelings, and we know it's going to be an assistant. AI is not conscious as of yet that we are aware of. And I think here's the thing. You have to understand, and I see this a lot on Substack, and it kind of just makes me go, why do we need to know? Why do you need to know if something hit your heart? Why do you care if it was written by AI or a person? If it touched your soul. If it didn't, and you're reading it and you're going, this doesn't feel good, then why do you keep reading it? I know there's human people that write stuff that I'm like, I don't love this. It ain't my jam. I think that's the key, is understanding we're trying to make this evil thing, AI. And the more it's kind of goes back to the protection thing. The more you project out to this is something to go against, the more you're going to bring that into your reality and see it. If we can understand that AI is a tool, for instance, it can detect breast cancer right now with a molecule. They're already testing this, where women won't have to go to the doctor and go through that horrible testing, and can get it down to a very cell of where breast cancer is, so it could save lives. Just like the internet, when the internet came out and everybody was like, oh my God, we're going to hell, the world is exploding, everything's going to die because the internet's here. And here we are in 2026. And yes, is there a dark web? Sure. So yes, there will be, I'm sure, people who use AI to do horrible things. But I think this is our discernment. This is where they're really pushing us to come home to yourself and going, is this something I need to be fighting? If I don't feel connected to it, do I care if AI wrote it? No. We don't look at a photograph and go, well, that guy used, Lightroom to edit all the things and saturate all the colors, and that's not actually the photo that was taken, which is true. We say, oh, that's a beautiful photograph. AI is the same way. It's going to be used for a lot of good. It already is. It's being tested in many areas, and there's going to be not so good with it. And we're going to have to decide, again, as a collective, we get to choose. How do we want to use this technology? How do we want it to benefit our society? Because at the end of the day, we get to choose that. So I know it's a hot topic. I know it's got somebody up in arms, and I've had people say, if I see an AI picture on your Substack, I won't read it, Beckett. And I think, okay, cool. You're not my people. And that's cool. Good luck with wherever you go. No judgment, no hate. You have to determine what works for you and what feels good in here. And it doesn't matter if AI did it, a human did it, if a cat drew it. It's just a tool. It's just a tool. So stop giving it more power than it needs. It's not even really a good tool sometimes, to be quite honest with you. It's not.
It's horrible with astrology. It is. Don't enter your astrology into AI. But I mean, that said, to your point of it being a tool and it having different expressions, I know part of the reason I've been able to discover and learn more about myself on the spectrum has been because of AI, because I tried Google and I tried books and I wasn't fitting the more commonly spoken narrative. And it allowed the first steps to kind of go and explore that. So
It does.
I like how you said that, like, if it touches you or if it does something that gets you somewhere, you know, that's a positive thing.
It is. And that's how you got to look at you're using it. I know one guy, I watched a story where it saved his life.
What?
His eyeball was sagging. He was having pain in his head, and he put it into AI, and he said, this is happening. And it asked him a couple other things. He said, yes. And it said, get to the ER right now. And he went to the ER, and they found out he was having a hemorrhage in his brain. And had he waited, he would have died. Luckily, it caught it early enough, and he was okay. So AI saved his life. So my point to you is there's many arguments for where AI is evil, and there's probably just as equally as many as AI is wonderful. It's
Yeah.
all depending on how you want it to involve in your world. Because remember, everybody's experiencing this world through your own creation. There are no two people on the planet experience the same life. Even Cassandra and I. Even if we're sitting in a coffee shop, she's experiencing it her way and I'm experiencing mine. We're not having the same experience ever. So you get to choose what comes into your reality and how you want to use that tool. So hopefully that's helpful. I try to stay very unbiased and look at AI for what it is. It's fantastic for amazing things. People can make feature films now. I use it and play with it. Other people don't care, don't want anything to do with it. And that's okay.
And again, like you said, discernment, right? Like what's for you? Discern that.
Yes, exactly. 226 Hamilton's lore. I've used it for that too, to help me sketch out guides. Working on this guidebook and going, what do the guides look like? What do these beings look like? It's helped me with that and be able to do that because I can't say I'm exactly the greatest sketch artist. So it's where it can fit in and where it can fit into your life, but it's not going anywhere. We know that when we did the trance channeling with the future humans She had an AI outfit she was using that helped her see and study nature. And she said AI is very much a part of our lives, but it works in conjunction with us. Hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions?
The only other question was something about, is there a 7-7 portal?
Cassandra, I'll let you answer that because you love the number of bells.
Beckett! Goodness gracious. So I tend, I'll be honest, guys, like, don't, once again, discernment, just putting a precursor out there. Discernment. This is just my view, okay? I may or may not have almost every year around the Lionsgate portal thrown a tantrum because to me, it personally doesn't necessarily resonate. I mean, I understand numerology, but I think anytime we're basing things too literally off of repeating numbers on the calendar, that's man made. Not saying it's right. Maybe that's just me not believing in that magic, and maybe I don't know. But um, I don't tend to be the portal person. I think the portals I tend to be in is like when you look at the astrology and the planets like line up and the stars line up. Like, so yes, to the Lion's Gate, like if we actually were perfectly in line with Sirius at that time, then yes, I would be go team Lionsgate, but actually astrologically that's not entirely accurate. So it just depends on when the stars actually align. Um, but in the theme of the magical blanket and creating your reality, maybe we all should start thinking that numbers that match on certain days have more potent magical qualities. Um, I am killing you right now for throwing me under the bus,
I'm
Beckett.
not throwing you under the bus. And like Jennifer said, I'm not against it. I just find it somewhat wrong for me in the realm of spiritual currency. And that's fine. And that's, and that's going to be the thing is, and you're going to see this happen in the spiritual community. People are going to, and you're already seeing it, it's starting to fall apart. And people are panicking a little ways because spirituality isn't going to be separate. So you're going to, like she said, well, from a spiritual person, well, what's a spiritual person? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Right? Is that the person that sits and gives you their quality time and is just there and is present with you? I would say they're spiritual. Versus someone who's in a drumming circle burning sage, which I've done them all. I've done stuff like that. Are they more spiritual? And I'm not saying no, I'm saying these are questions that we're all going to have to ask ourselves because we're getting away from these defined definitions. So I didn't throw her under the bus. Some people wholeheartedly believe that, and that's okay. I am being more in energetic portals, ley lines, environments. I've been in Sedona and all their vortexes. There's definitely different energetic frequencies at different locations on the planet. So to me, those are more portals that I entertain. And then what is the portal for? We're even learning like all different kinds of portals. We've kind of been told our yard is a portal.
His dad calls it the magical bush.
Yes, because all sorts of beings and where animals seem to just pop out of this bush. So it's like, okay, so it's looking up and understanding that we've had a very limited description of what is spiritual, what is sacred, what is ancient. That's what I'm saying. This ancient knowledge isn't coming here. It's been here. It's here. It's all underneath our hands. The cilia, the mushrooms, the way the trees talk to each other. That's all ancient technology. You have ancient technology within you. It's waking up. It's remembering. Nothing is coming in and it's not new and we're like learning. It's like, no, you guys know this. You've just forgotten. We're just going to dust it off and take a look at it. So that's what I'm saying. All these questions are for you to answer. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. Whatever a portal is for you, I'm with you. I wholeheartedly support you. That's where your discernment comes in. You know what I mean? And that's why it's important for you guys to understand that. And you're going to see things get questioned. You're going to be like, man, I thought I believed that. I like her. I thought we were splitting into a utopia. I've had my own stuff questioned where I've had to stop. I've found my own self judging where I'm like, ooh, no, I need to not, let's pull back from that. Let's look at this. What are you really looking at here? So that's what's coming online. And that's where you're going to see a lot of the confusion come in, and people are going to be looking for answers. And more importantly, they're going to be looking for community.
I feel like on this, I want to add one last little piece to what you just said, especially because I do tend to think I get caught up in it a little bit more than you do, Beckett. But um, I think that why that girl's post kind of got to me was looking, because basically what you invited me to do was look at why I was upset. Well, at that time, I started seeing a lot of people posting in the spiritual community negatively about actually spirituality. And it was this feeling where I was starting to feel like I was misunderstanding. I know now that I was thinking, well, spirituality is going to go away, meaning the magic's going to go away. Like we're just going to have this normal human experience. And I was starting to feel disappointed in that idea. But I realized that it's not that. I was just being overly polarized in my perspective. But I think it's also important because what Beckett helped me realize is some of what's coming out right now about people feeling frustrated with the spiritual community has a lot to do with the languages that have taught us to look outside of ourselves. This program, do 5 different, I don't know, meditation poses, or, make sure you pull your cards at the full moon. And what it is like we're coming to this place and realizing, especially people that, you know, Beckett shared to me, people that have been like felt caught in this never ending role of self-healing and shadow work are starting to feel discouraged. Like, I just want to live my life. And that's a good thing. So some of the language that is coming out right now where the pendulum is swinging is does sound very much against spiritual concepts and astrology. But I've always said you don't have to have astrology. It's just a fun tool, and I just happen to enjoy sharing it. But I think that we're going to see more of as we come into this way of where we're going, there being different languages shared on spiritual topics. That was
Sorry,
it.
I'm just answering one of the.
You're fine. It's silent, like cricket.
That's okay. Well, we've given him a lot to think about. So,
Yes.
I mean,
That was the last piece.
well, think about this, guys. What is more magical than living on a planet that's spinning around at the space at this right now? It's spinning. And we are all here sitting talking. It's moving around the galaxy and we're literally sitting here. I mean, come on. It doesn't get any more magical than that. Yeah. Right? I mean, and it's just knowing that it's understanding what a magical world and beautiful world and human beings that we get to interact with and talk with every day, and what a blessing this has been. And that really is the reminder in a lot of these beings that come and visit is like, we're just here to help you guys navigate this time because we've been through it. Yeah. We know how confusing it can be, and it's always good to have support if you need it. If you're like, nah, I'm good, I got this. It's like, okay, cool. But we're not meant to be alone. We're as a human species, we're more community based than we are individuals. Doesn't mean you don't love your alone time. But we're here to really kind of collaborate and come together and go, no, we get to decide together where we're going. So hopefully that really, it helped. Hopefully you guys got some nuggets from this. If you can think of anything, like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Do we answer all the questions? Because I want to make sure.
Yeah, we did. I'm pretty sure we did. And yeah, and just if you missed it at the beginning of the call, Beckett said if you did want to watch the trance channeling yourself, we'll be releasing that tomorrow.
And I will put that all the links. I will put that link under this video. The replay will come out on Substack. Some people don't know that, but there is a replay, and so I will link the trance channeling under this, and so you guys can watch it if you want to. And if you have any questions after watching it, we would love to hear what energy you got from it and what came
Yes.
through for you guys and what did you feel talking to her and hearing, because you'll have your own energetic exchange with her. Understand that you will. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
we have to, exactly. The old paradigm has been very rules driven. Maybe spirituality isn't served by a rules driven top down culture. Exactly. Right. It's more communal. It's together. It's not one above. And that's something the beings have really been clear about us is don't look at we're above you. In fact, we look at you guys in awe. We're right next to you. We're not any more advanced than you all are. So please don't treat us that way. Treat us as like your friend. So think about that and and how we interact with each other. So thank you guys. Again, thank
Yes.
you for coming, for spending time with us, for amazing questions and insights. We read them all and we thoroughly get off these calls just elated.
Excited.
Yes, and joyous. And we feel your love and we thank you. So
Thank you.
thank you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.